Welcome everybody back to the Speaking Nerd podcast. We took a little bit of a break for a week after we did the atrocity that was our live episode. We don't talk about that much. Uh yeah, I'm taking charge this episode, believe it or not. I don't know why they gave me this platform. This was a big mistake on like everyone's part. But we're here. And today we're going to be talking about R-rated comic book media. I guess that's the way I would describe it. Pretty much there's been a lot of talk going around on whether or not like the general audiences for comic book movies and TV shows and whatnot prefer a darker tone compared to like the lighter tone seen in like the MCU. And so I really wanted to kind of discuss some of the more popular R-rated comic book films and TV shows, and see what you guys think, and see if you guys think like if we will also see like a big tonal shift in comic book films and just media in general in the future. Uh, I'm not good with these things. So let's just go around and see. Like let's just name off some R-rated comic book properties and our thoughts on them to start off the episode. So one that comes to the top of my mind, I guess I'll go first. One that I'm thinking of right now is Invincible. I don't know why that show's been on my mind a lot recently, but it has.
Yeah. Yeah, Invincible.
So yeah,
Invincible's great. Like, I love Invincible. And I can't wait for the next couple seasons they have planned. It was just, like, to me, Invincible
whenever
was
they
just
decide to
such.
release those.
Yeah, no idea. Um, Invincible to me was just kind of like. It turned into, like, a sleeper hit almost because when you watch the first episode, majority of it is just like, oh, it's your standard, standard superhero fare. Maybe there's a few, like, curse words thrown in there or whatnot. Like, maybe a little bit more blood than usual. But then when you get to the episode, like the end of the episode, it just it literally goes from 0 to 100 in a split second, and the whole rest of the show is just a whole wild ride, and it's all great. So,
This has some of the best fight scenes in any animated show ever.
yeah, yeah, they are pretty great.
They're so
Um,
they're the definition of that word gnarly. All right, motherfucker.
yeah, you can definitely tell that they use their budget wisely on those fight scenes, and I mean they did pay
The
off
blood
because
physics are crazy.
absolutely. Like the episode I think of is it's like I think it's the end of episode 5 when they're going to confront the crime boss or whatever, and just Invincible gets hit with
Their version
like a
of
mace
Cynthia.
or whatever the fuck that guy had, and just his whole stomach like explodes in blood, and it's fucking
Yeah,
gnarly.
I'm still thinking about how they killed. Is his name like Darkwing or whatever? Like their version of Batman
Yeah,
in their Justice Syndicate, whatever their. Is that what it's called? What's their
the
superhero team called again?
the Guardians of the Globe.
How the hell did I forget that? I said Syndicate. What the fuck is wrong with me? Yo, so the way that they killed like Darkwing, bro, they just demolished that motherfucker. just that's the one I think about the most. Is he just drops down on Omni Man, and Omni Man just grabs him by his leg and ragdolls him on the floor, just fucking splatters his brains out. He is
Yeah,
nuts.
yeah, no, like the whole top half of his body just like contorts as soon as he hits the floor, and then like it's fucking crazy, man. Like, the shit that they get away with on that show is like is
Amazon
nuts.
Prime in general, because then we can talk about the boys right after.
Yeah, yeah. The boys is
Yeah,
like
basically overall thoughts.
yeah. Invincible's
Overall
great.
thoughts on Invincible before we do eventually talk about the boys. Invincible is great and definitely a good start if comic book media is going to take a big tonal shift into being more mature and dark and R-rated. I feel like Invincible really set that bar high, and the next show we're going to be talking about also does, and that is The Boys. Also, before we move on to The Boys, Swifty, you got anything to add on Invincible?
N-O. No.
Kill yourself and go watch the show before you do that. Anyway, so
I
we're going
heard
to move
N,
on
and I
to The
was really
Boys,
worried
which is
where
a
that
show
was
that I know
going
for sure
next.
will have an opinion.
Yeah, The Boys. The Boys is like,
We're making this. We're having a tonal shift of the fucking whole podcast. Now I'm just going to tell everyone
The
to go
Boys
die.
is the Boys is top tier television show, in my opinion.
The Boys is top G superhero media.
it's probably in like my
At
top
least the show is. The
3.
comic is terrible.
You know what? I've read the comic, and it's like, it's not great for sure. Like, just comparing it to the show, like, it's not great at all.
It reads off like a modern Family Guy skit.
Yeah, there's just a lot going back to that comic where it's just like it's really hard to.
There's just a lot.
Yeah, there's just a lot. Um, which I'm like the show changes for the better, and I'm really glad for that. Um, I mean, like The Boys is great not only just for like an action, show, but also just like the story and the characters. Like, I mean, we've talked about it before on the podcast, but like it is literally in like probably my top 5 shows of all time. That's how great it actually is, and I can't wait to see where the rest of the series goes after season 3.
Yeah, because they're currently working on season 4 right now, aren't they?
Yeah, yeah, I think it just started filming like last month. So
Sick. I still got to finish the rest of season 2 and watch season 3. So, I can't really speak on much. However, for what I have seen, which is a good majority of season 2 and all of season 1, this show is fucking nuts. But I love it so much. There's not really much I can say that hasn't already been said. Not only this episode, but also just episodes before. That just The Boys is great. It's well written. It's way better than the source material, and top tier television. I'll say
mm-hmm.
that much. Swifty, you got anything to add before I conclude my final thoughts on The Boys? Because
No, I
I
just
guess we're
love The
just running by
Boys.
movies and shit.
No, I just love The Boys, and I can't wait for season 4. I mean, I I adore that show. So excited.
All right, he's not adding anything to the conversation besides he likes The Boys. All right, yeah, we knew it. All right. So,
Well, what is
anyways,
there to say?
The
I mean, there's not
Boys.
much else to add.
Yeah, I know. I just do something. Now I'm playing.
Anyway, what do
But
you got next to talk about?
all right. So we just did Invincible. We just did The Boys. So let's move on to some Marvel stuff, man. We'll group all the X-Men stuff together. So we have like how many R-rated X-Men films? Like there's like the Deadpool films, Logan, like
Is New Mutants rated R or no?
New Mutants.
Is New Mutants R?
Yeah, New Mutants is rated R.
Okay.
Okay.
The
Um.
director's cut of the Wolverine is rated R. So
Oh yeah. I mean, I can't
Is it?
speak. Yeah, it is. I can't speak for New Mutants or the R-rated cut of the Wolverine, but for like Logan and the Deadpool movies, I both love them for different reasons. Like Deadpool's, just that the comedy alone, like just the dark humor surrounding it, makes me go back to those movies like every now and again. And Logan is just like it's it's a movie that really like has an interesting story and like really puts its characters first. And a big part of both of them is like their action, their violence, and all that. And yeah, I really love the first Deadpool movie. I prefer to the second, but like I still really like those
I do
two.
too.
I think they're both
They're,
kind of even to me. I kind of have them both on an equal playing field. For Deadpool and Logan, I feel like the thing they have most in common is how accurate they are to their source material and how much they care about their source material.
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, a big part of
Like
Deadpool's
definitely, they're definitely
hair
the
is Ryan
highlights of the
Reynolds
X
for
Men, the
sure.
whole 20th Century Fox X Men
Yeah.
franchise.
I mean, I think that the 20th Century X-Men franchise is it's hard to say because within the MCU there are some great movies, but I think I just I don't know. I love the charm that the X Men movies have in that whole universe, and sometimes I prefer watching those just because I have such a love for the characters. And those
I
three
mean,
movies,
despite some of
particularly
them which are
Logan
just
and the
god
Deadpool
awful.
movies. Besides what?
Besides some of them, because some of them are just god awful. But
Oh yeah, I agree.
X-Men
like,
Apocalypse.
I know you guys probably can't add much to like New Mutants, but New Mutants is a rough film to get through. However, I will say artistically that film looks cool. That's about it.
Yeah.
Just a lot of studio meddling went behind that, and plus like the whole Disney merger and everything.
Yeah,
But
because wasn't that film supposed to come out in like 2018, 2019? Something like that.
it was come out in like 2017
Yeah.
and it came out in 2020. Literally, all the actors that were in that movie were children when they did the movie, and
yeah,
they were dead ass adults
they
whenever
aged
they
up.
fucking went to the premiere.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's so funny seeing like interviews and shit for that movie. But yeah, there's a lot of studio meddling that went behind that film, which is why I. It's probably like out of all the R-rated films that we're talking about, that one's probably going to be the worst one we're going to discuss. I mean, with the Wolverine director's cut, I kind of mentioned that as more of a joke because I haven't seen it. It just kind of exists. I do like the Wolverine though as a film though, so there's that. But Logan and the two Deadpool films, I'm kind of just rambling now. But to conclude my thoughts on those, and I guess Dark Phoenix as well, the two Deadpool films and Logan were all fantastic, just top tier cinema in general. Don't fucking at me. And New Mutants is the Justice League of the X Men films. So
Mm.
you know you can't win them all
I guess
if
so.
you're not first, but if you're not first, you're last. Will Ferrell said that.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Deadpool's great. Logan's great. Like we
Yeah.
mentioned, pinnacle of that whole franchise and like just Marvel R rated in general. Um, have you guys watched
Literally,
the?
those are my three favorite films from that franchise. Were just those three. That's my top three.
Yeah. I mean, like Deadpool and Logan and Deadpool, the first Deadpool are definitely like in my top five for sure. Um, but like, I don't like, yeah. I was gonna ask because we're on the subject of R-rated Marvel movies, but have you guys watched the Blade trilogy at all?
Yes, it is top tier cinema.
Yeah,
At least the first two are.
yeah. I just watched them recently because just out of curiosity, and I haven't seen the first movie in a long time, and I was like, I'm really enjoying the first one. The second movie's really great too, and then I get to Blade 3, and I'm just like, I hate myself. I hate everything.
Blade Trinity is really really bad.
Yeah,
Blade Trinity had Ryan Reynolds in there playing Ryan Reynolds. He just played Deadpool before Deadpool.
pretty much. Yeah,
Which I mean, he is probably the best part of that film just because he's funny.
yeah. It's funny to me because the the worst part of that whole movie is Blade himself. Like him and Dracula are probably the
That
worst
movie's
things
just
about.
so boring to me. The CGI is really bad. Just everything about it. The writing's really bad.
Yeah,
The pacing is terrible. But like Ryan Reynolds' performance is just on like it's just it's just great. I don't know how accurate it is to the character he's actually portraying though. Because it is Ryan Reynolds. He plays the same character every film.
I don't even know if those characters are from the comics or not. I doubt it, but
Are they? I don't know. I don't read Blade comics. I just saw the Wesley Snipes movies, and I'm just now an expert on Blade.
Yeah, pretty much. But yeah, I love the first Blade movie.
Have you ever seen the sequel series to those three films?
No, but I want to just out of morbid curiosity, even if it
There's like
probably is
a really
terrible.
bad TV film, and then there's like a whole like mini series.
Apparently, they make a reference to Moon Knight in there at some point. That's all I've really seen of it.
I really wish they had Moon Knight be R-rated, but no, we can't
No,
include him in this video, can we?
no. I mean,
Instead,
he
we
would
got
fit
She-Hulk
though.
throwing ass.
He
A
would fit.
discussion for a different day. Yeah, he probably would. Anyways, back on topic. Besides, yeah, I mean, Swift, you got anything to add with Blade? Because
No, because I haven't
Blade's
I haven't
Blade.
really delved into those movies. I love Blade. I just haven't watched the movies.
Watch the first two
Get your
movies.
bitch ass on Disney Plus and watch it.
Are they on Disney Plus? I doubt it.
I can't remember what they're on. They're not on Disney Plus.
They're probably
That's
on.
just the go-to Marvel.
They're probably on some streaming service.
Blade was on. The first Blade was on HBO Max for a while.
Yeah.
Anyway, some motherfuckers always trying to ice skate uphill. And with that, we'll move on to something else. Trying to think, what are some other R-rated comic book films and TV shows that we can talk about? I
Have
mean,
you
we can
watched
jump the gun straight to the Snyder Cut, or we can save that for later.
Have you watched Super by James Gunn?
I want to. I've seen clips of it, and it seems hilarious.
It's
I know they make references of it in Brightburn, which is a
yeah.
film I have seen, which is also rated R. We can talk about that later.
Oh man.
I haven't seen. I've seen parts of Brightburn, and it scared the shit out of me. Well, this was when I was a bit younger.
That film was kind of gnarly.
No, it was.
Like
I mean,
Brightburn is kind
looking
of.
back at it now.
I mean, Brightburn is a lot better of a concept than it is a film, and it kind of just plays into that whole evil Superman trait that like no one likes. But
Yeah.
I find it to be a fairly enjoyable film. I mean, this is coming from someone who has not like who just like I hate horror film, like modern horror films. Like they're not good to me.
Yeah.
And I really I enjoyed Brightburn a decent bit, even though I look at it more as a comic book film than a horror film.
Yeah, Brightburn's like in this really weird category of horror slash superhero slash whatever like films. Like I find the idea of it interesting, where it's just like it's doing the whole, baby gets sent to Earth from somewhere else, but then it turns out he's just some like maniacal
He's
like
literally like
sleeper
satanic,
agent.
like
Yeah.
he's worshiping Satan.
Yeah.
I think the worst scene in that film was so good until the end of it, when bro kills his mom, and then fucking Billie Eilish starts playing.
Oh, yeah. That's right. I
Like,
literally,
oh my god, I wanted to blow my brains out.
I literally
Like the
laughed.
film was so good up until that, and it was like, oh, you ruined it for me. You ruined it.
The first time I heard Billie Eilish in the credits, I literally laughed. It was just,
It was
just
so
so
stupid.
yeah.
That's probably the most James Gunn thing that's been in that film. You know what?
Yeah.
What's crazy is I always forget that film was directed by James Gunn.
No, it's not. I mean, he had some involvement, but it's
Is it not?
No, I forget the guy's name.
I thought he directed it.
Hold on.
Motherfucker did all the press interviews for it. What the hell?
Let me look it up.
I thought he directed it. Oh fuck! No, okay. But it's technically in the same universe as Super though.
Yeah,
So
it
how does
is.
that make you feel?
That is so weird because Super is like really grounded. I mean, for the most part, there is some ridiculous.
I need to see the crossover with like the main character from Super fighting the kid from Brightburn.
he's just
Just
bashing
gets
him with a wrench.
fucking destroyed.
It was
He breaks his wrench over this little ass kid's head, and the kid just sits up and just shatters his whole body like fucking Omni Man.
so Brightburn was directed by David Yarofsky. It's a little,
I,
that last name was
I thought
hard
you
to
were about to say
pronounce.
David Ayer. I was like, there's no way.
But the movie was written by James's brothers, Brian and Mark. I think they're his brothers. Who cares?
Who cares? Movie's I haven't seen Super though. I
Super's
feel like I
great.
really need to see Super.
Super's great. I just watched it recently, and I mean it's early James Gunn, so a lot of it is just like very what the fuck humor. But if you can get past that, like it is a really
That's
good like
what you mean.
story.
You mean just James Gunn in general? We can talk about that in a minute too, because that's
Well,
also some R-rated comic
yeah,
book media.
but I mean it's just he's not like recently, I guess because of the whole Marvel DC thing, like he's not as like out there as his earlier movies are. Like Super has like fucking tentacle porn like just in it. I'm it's yeah.
My type of film.
Yeah, you'll definitely enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm gonna love that. Sounds like the Jump Street of superhero films, which is just God. All right. Anyways, moving on to the other James Gunn R-rated superhero properties. We can talk about the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker now.
I haven't watched Peacemaker. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I've seen bits and pieces.
I haven't
But
really watched much
The
of
hell
it.
is wrong with you?
I don't have HBO Max in Canada. Hey, shut the fuck up.
Pirate it. Go to hdmo.tv. Search Peacemaker. Hit enter.
All right, I'll do that.
I don't
But,
even know if that website still works anymore.
I'm not sure. But the
But yeah.
Suicide Squad I watched again, and it still holds up really well, I think.
I think the Suicide Squad is a good film. I feel like I kind of overhyped it whenever it first came out. I don't know. I kind of treated it like it was the best DCEU film. It's not the best DCEU.
Yeah, you treated it
It's
that
still
way
a
for
damn
sure.
good film, and it's way better than David Ayer's Suicide Squad, which is my guilty pleasure of a film.
You mean WB's Suicide Squad film?
From what I've heard from David Ayer's like original vision, it ain't much better.
That's true.
Release the Ayer cut. No, motherfucker, keep the Ayer cut. Burn it.
I agree. It's like people are hyping it up. I'm like, no, I'm good.
We're gonna get like shot by some like David Ayer fans because they're fucking crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ayer fans are the Snyder cultists. They're all in the same field.
Yeah, they're like they hate each other, but they're the same. And then they
Mhm.
equally just want to murder every Robert Pattinson Batman fan.
Yeah.
I know, it's so sad.
So I'm always at the top of their hit list because I dick ride Robert Pattinson until I die. But yeah, Suicide Squad. It's still a really good film. I really enjoy it. But I like Peacemaker more than the Suicide Squad. I think Peacemaker is what I would consider DC's Deadpool, which is kind of what everyone called Harley Quinn and like Birds of Prey at first. Which oh shit, we can talk about Birds of Prey too. But
Another movie that I
yeah,
find underwhelming. I'm sorry. I know you love these newer
we'll talk about that in a
DCU
second.
movies.
Anyways, but Peacemaker is great. Go watch Peacemaker. Go pirate it if you can. This just ruined every chance I got of having any type of sponsorship from Warner Brothers, didn't it?
Next podcast we're gonna do without you.
I take it back. You guys
sponsored
should
by
very
WB.
legally go watch. Very legally go watch Peacemaker. And Warner Brothers, my email is in my Instagram bio. You can go ahead and just email me when you want me to be part of the DC Creators Program.
Is that
I
even
can make you
still a
some
thing?
tax dollars, motherfucker. But anyway,
Whatever.
is it? Last time I saw it was like Slickmoff had to review the Justice League versus Teen Titans animated film. It's the last time I heard of that.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to the Suicide Squad and Peacemaker. They're great. They're easy to watch films. There's nothing like complex. They're funny. I mean, Peacemaker's hilarious. Suicide Squad's somewhat funny. Suicide Squad is more so just like if you want to watch a living comic book, because that film is the definition of a comic book movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far all of David Ayer's R-rated work, whether he's fucking directs it or not, because he's a bitch and doesn't know how to direct a Superman film. All of them have been pretty solid. I mean, aside from like Super, because I haven't seen it, but what I've heard from it, Super's solid. I think Brightburn's a decent film. And
Yeah.
then you have Peacemaker, the Suicide Squad, which are both like top tier DCEU.
Sure.
But speaking of DCEU, we got two more films that we can talk about from that. Wait, do you disagree that fucking both of them are top tier, or are you just
Well,
a bitch?
I wouldn't personally call them top tier. Like, I think the Suicide Squad is really good. But like, I don't know. It's been a little bit since I've seen it, but it's good. I don't know if it is top tier, but
You're finally coming around to my camp.
I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the best. Let me
Oh,
rephrase that.
you were
I
riding
keep
him
fixing that.
so hard.
No, I ride Peacemaker. Peacemaker is just fucking great. Uh, what like the Suicide Squad itself is not. I think Peacemaker is the best thing that's happened in the DCU. That's my favorite thing that's happened in DC. It's been Peacemaker. Uh, but the Suicide Squad is a great film. It's probably top 5 in that universe. I like Aquaman's better. Trying to think of what else. The fuck else is in the DCU? Man of Steel. Man of Steel's better. I'll say that.
hmm.
I can't think right now because I'm gonna be real. The Suicide Squad might be top 3 by default. But
Right, David Ayer's Suicide Squad.
yeah.
Goated
How
film.
about David Ayer can suck my fucking taint? But let's just go ahead and move on to let's go ahead and
Wait, I
talk
don't
about
know that I've
Birds of
ever
Prey
heard
before we
someone
just get it off the
suck
fucking
my
list.
taint. That's
uh,
So, Birds of Prey. How do you guys feel?
I think it's fine. I don't hate it. I don't love it. It's not. It's not
I'm
the
not into
worst.
it.
It's not the worst thing DC's ever done, but like, it's not. It's not top tier for sure.
You guys just wait a second. Swifty's gonna sound like the fucking quartering here in a second. All these woke DCEU.
What? What? There's nothing to do with that. I just didn't like the movie.
I don't like women in my DC
I
movies.
I
I
know.
liked
I just like making
I
fun
liked
of you.
parts of the movie, but I didn't like the movie as a whole. It's almost like the
Great. Now he's
BVS
gonna be talking
dilemma.
about how the
I mean,
DCEU.
it's better than BVS, but it's like actually I find myself liking more moments in BVS than I do in Birds of Prey. But like Birds of Prey is just a better movie, but I still don't love it. But
Yeah.
I'm not gonna sit down and like somebody puts it on. Oh, turn this shit off. I don't want to watch it. You know, I can watch it.
Oh yeah, I guess we can talk
Yeah,
about
but I can
BVS's
agree that
extended
some
cut.
parts of it are really stupid, and I think the fight scenes in it are not good. They're just kind of all over the place. Like I watched this video where it was like fight choreographers react to like some of the fight scenes in Birds of Prey, and they talked about how unprofessional it looks, and it's really hard to not notice that now because I've been watching. I'm like, oh my god, this fight scene fucking sucks. But like I like a lot of the character moments, specifically with Harley Quinn and like Black Mask. So I like the film. I think it's really good, but like it's just whatever. I like the Suicide Squad better. I'd probably put it under the Suicide Squad when it comes to like my DCEU ranking.
I would say the Suicide Squad's a way better movie than Birds of Prey, and I'm not even the biggest Suicide Squad fan.
Yeah, because you just hate women.
What? I'm leaving. No, I'm just kidding.
You should have left. I think it'd be pretty funny. But you did the rest of the episode without him.
Yeah. Yeah, Birds of Prey is just
Alright.
one of those movies. Like, I can probably turn my brain off and just enjoy it for what it is. Yeah. Should we talk about the BVS
Alright.
Ultimate Edition? Since that's technically R-rated.
We can, but like, I'll say my opinion on that movie in one sentence. It just because it's extended does not make it really much better at all. Doesn't I don't
It's the
find
same
myself
movie.
Right? It's like yeah, there's a little subplot in between that. Yeah, whoop-de-doo.
It's a different, bro. Here's the thing
Fuck.
with
It's just a BBS
with
bad movie.
with like the Snyder cut, like that's a whole different film
Yeah.
compared to like Justice League. And we'll talk about the Snyder cut here in a second, but like the Ultimate Edition of BVS is literally just the same fucking movie, but they hype it up as if it's the greatest thing ever made. But then as soon as you talk about the theatrical cut, it's like they're talking about how it's so much worse. When it's, in my opinion, it's better because there's a whole 10 minutes I don't have to sit through.
It's weird because
Also, there's also like a bunch of blood censored out. There's like blood splatters for like no reason.
yeah. I mean, yeah. That is
No, they're for a reason.
It's
because
weird.
Batman's a murderous wretch in that movie.
it's
That's why.
fucking brand somebody so they get shanked in prison later.
That's kind of a
Dude, I hate
that's
that.
kind of gnarly. I'm not gonna lie.
That what they did in that movie with that.
Bitches
It's
will
so
be posting
not
up Ben
something
Affleck, be
Batman
like, "My
would say
Batman,
that-
yeah, your Batman's gonna beat the shit out of your boyfriend in jail." I kind of went all in for that. My fault. Let's just let's just BVS is not a good movie. I mean, I like parts of it. It's pretty. I fucking hate that the warehouse scene is in that film because they're gonna use that in every single. They're gonna use that in every single argument against like every version of Batman. Like, yeah, Robert Pattinson's cool, but he doesn't have this scene. And it's like, yeah, but that scene is from a Batman who fucking sucks. It's not my fault they gave him the best goddamn scene in all of cinema.
Yeah,
It's like they fired Zack Snyder for that scene. Like fucking Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, like, I mean, it may be a cool scene, and Ben Affleck might have like one of the best bat suits in all of cinema, but at the same time, it's like his Batman just sucks.
Yeah.
And no amount of movies.
There's one thing that I think.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. There's no amount of movies that come after that really like redeem that. I feel they tried, but it just didn't work.
Yeah. What I will say though is that there are some redeeming qualities of the film. Like I go back to BVS every now and then.
So
Not
do
as
I.
much as other films. Definitely not, but just mainly just because of the cool fight scenes. Like the fight scenes in this film were fantastic. The writing is
And I mean,
dog shit, but I really enjoy Jesse Eisenberg's Lex Luthor just as
So
a
do
villain.
I. I've always
And
said
a lot of the
that.
Superman scenes, a lot of the Superman scenes are really cool too. Superman was written really well in that film.
Usually when I watch BVS, it's just to see Ben Affleck as Batman because I think he looks great as Batman and he plays Batman really well with what he has. And I think Henry Cavill's great as Superman. Just seeing him as Superman, not necessarily the actual writing. And I enjoy Jesse Eisenberg's take. I don't mind it. And the cinematography in that movie is great, and the score is probably one of the best scores in all of comic book cinema. So that's why I go back to it. But as a story, it's
Yeah,
ass.
pretty much. Yeah, pretty much the same for me. Also, whenever I plan on watching like the Snyder Cut, if I have
Mhm.
some spare time, I'll throw on BVS before because it kind of adds to the Snyder Cut experience, in my opinion.
It does. I mean, it's like one movie for sure. Those two movies. The
Yeah,
same. Like
I
if
mean,
you
you could throw
add it
on
as
Man of
one
Steel
movie,
too, and just
you could. But I feel like Man of Steel's too. Like I feel like BVS goes into Justice League super well, just because it literally picks up right after BVS. But
I mean, I've watched all three back to back before.
damn, I don't know if I'd have the patience to do that. Because
Bro, we were
you know,
stuck at home. Me and my sister were, and my sister was gonna binge some stupid ass TV show, and I was like, let's just binge all the Zack Snyder movies. It was like, what other opportunity do I have to do that?
right.
'Cause I just was like in my head, I was like, wow, that'd be a wild experience. So I threw
But
on Man
all
of Steel. And after Man of Steel, we put on BVS, and after BVS, we put on Snyder Cut.
Yeah.
well, I kind of I think this would be a good time to usher into the Snyder Cut because like
Yeah,
the movie itself to me like it lost some of that like initial pizzazz that it got when it first came out. Like for the first 5 months, it was like it was great, and then after you kind of sit with it for a bit, it's still a good movie, but it's not like a great movie, and it's definitely a huge improvement from the original, but or the theatrical release rather.
I feel the
But
same way. Like I did really enjoy it the first go around, and then I watched it like not like I want to say about 6 months ago, and I'm like, it's good. Don't get me wrong, but there's just a lot that is just kind of hurting it by the minute. One I think really hurts it is the length. Just
yeah, 4 hours is just. I
it's just
mean,
too much.
people use the stupid argument. They're like, well, if you don't have that amount of, if you don't have the palate to digest that much film, then you shouldn't be watching it and critiquing it. I'm like, no, 4 hours is just a long time to sit on my ass and watch one movie that's slow as shit
Yeah.
for the majority of the movie. Like,
I,
sure, some of the slow parts explain some
there's a
stuff.
lot of forced scenes. Because let's be real, they could have cut out a whole hour of that film. They really could have.
It could have been a three
Yeah.
hour movie, and I would have been really much more happy.
Oh, I'll be back in a
Like,
second.
but like, here's okay. It's the difference too because it's like the Batman is almost 3 hours, and people criticize that runtime, but it doesn't feel like 3 hours to me when I watch the Batman. But Zack Snyder's
Yeah,
Justice League feels
I could watch
longer
the
than
Batman
four
back to
hours.
back.
So can I. And like, but like Zack Snyder's Justice League feels like 4 hours and some. It's like it's a draggy movie, and like all that slow mo
Yeah, I feel
pisses
like
me
the hype
off. It's too
around the whole
much.
Snyder Cut really carried it on everyone's first viewings.
Well, like, okay, my first viewing was perfect because it was like everyone was asking for it and it was finally happening. It was coming. And then I remember I made like really good homemade mac and cheese for the occasion. And I was just like, all right, I'm going to just eat this delicious mac and cheese, have a nice drink, and watch the Snyder Cut for 4 hours. And it was great. It was awesome. And then Justice is Gray came out, black and white version, and I love that.
I still haven't
But
seen that.
it's really good. I mean, it's no different, but it
It's
adds
really
a
just
whole
a
new look.
black and white version. I think the only really difference in like the scenes and stuff, I feel like, isn't there like a like some Joker dialogue that goes on for like 2 lines longer?
There might be.
Hmm.
I only watched it once, Justice is a Gray, so I don't really remember. But I've seen Zack Snyder's Justice League about 3 times, I want to say, or 4 times, something or somewhere around there.
Hmm.
I've seen it 4 times.
And it's like the first time is always going to be the best for that movie.
I
Um,
mean, yeah.
like
Hmm.
I'm never going to get that back
I
because
still
it
love
just
this
kind of
film.
slowly goes
Like,
downhill.
don't get me wrong,
I,
I still think it's. I'm not gonna
well,
sit here
I,
and think it's like the best thing ever made, like every single Snyder fan Dick writes it to be, but like I really enjoy it.
no, but it's not even a bad movie either. It's not. It's a good movie. It's not great, but it's good,
I
and
said
it's not
this.
bad.
I,
It's not even mediocre.
I
It's
I,
think
good.
if you don't if you don't look at it as an adaptation, I feel like you'll enjoy it a lot.
I said this
Yeah.
when we did our Snyder Cut video, and I'll say it again, but this is definitely the best of his DC movies that he's made. And, like, even though it's got issues for sure, as every movie does. Like, there's still a lot to really like about it, just from
Yeah.
story, characters, all that. So,
See, I still don't know if I prefer Man of Steel or not.
I prefer Man of Steel over Justice League.
'Cause I think I might. I don't know. I love Man of Steel.
I do too, actually. I really enjoy Man of Steel,
I
apart
enjoy,
from a couple parts.
yeah,
I
like,
feel like that. I feel like that's where Zack Snyder really peaked with DC. Actually, if you want to know where Zack Snyder peaked, we can talk about our next film. If you guys are done talking about the Snyder Cut, we can talk about fucking Watchmen.
I'm done talking about the Snyder Cut, I think.
yeah, Watchmen's a weird beast because I'm very on and off about it. Like, some days, like, I like it, and other days I'm just like, it's not really like, it's not all that. But
Mm.
I think right now I'm like, it's fine. It's a fine movie. Um,
I don't know.
I love Watchmen.
I just feel like it's Zack Snyder dilemma again. I feel like he does it with every movie. He just makes like a joke out of the source material almost, it seems. It's like he totally disrespects it.
No, see, no,
I don't think
see,
he
I
was I
disagree
don't think he
because
did a good
it's.
job with Watchmen.
I
I
think
really Go
no.
ahead.
Here's I've seen plenty critiques, and there was one critic I can't remember the name. I wish I remembered it. I'll probably look it up and send it to you guys later. But there was a review he did of Watchmen, and he was doing a side by side comparison of like the comic panels and the film. And he did say that the film is pretty damn accurate because like they actually just used the comic as the storyboard for the film. He said the only thing that they really messed up on was Zack Snyder's cinematography because Zack Snyder would try to make these impactful shots from the comic like just average like action movie blockbuster affair when that's not
Mhm.
what they were meant to be told as.
hmm.
But besides that, it's a pretty damn accurate like adaptation of one of my favorite comics of all time. So I really like Watchmen. As much as I'd rather just read the comic, I don't I like watching it every
I'm
now
gonna
and then.
rewatch it and I'm gonna tell you what I think again. Because it's been a few years since I've seen Watchmen. I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I'll probably have the same opinion.
I don't know. I went through
Because I just
I
don't
went
like
through a
Zack
whole
Snyder as a
Watchmen
comic
phase
writer.
where I literally as the HBO show was coming out, like I would watch the episodes weekly. I was reading the graphic novel, and then after I finished reading the graphic novel, the show, like the season one of the show, which I think there's only one season, like it literally hit its finale. I watched the finale, and then I went from the finale and I watched the movie. Like, I went through a whole ass like month where everything I did was Watchmen related.
Mm. I, yeah, like the movie, like there's a lot of stuff to like about it. I guess in the same case of like BVS, where there is stuff to like. For me, it's like I love the cast. I love like the just like the effects, the cinematography. I like, even though like you mentioned, it kind of contradicts the comic, but like it works for the movie. I say. Um, but it's I don't know. Like it's just like I don't know. Like I said, it's just weird. Like it's just it's a weird movie.
At the end of the day, Alan Moore is my dad. So moving on.
Okay, what are we moving on to?
God, I love Alan Moore
Joker.
so much. Alan Moore is still my favorite comic book writer.
I love
Oh, we're
Alan
talking
Moore
about
too.
Joker now. Okay, some real cinema.
That's a great way to put the episode. All right, Joker. Who
Joker's
wants to go first?
fantastic.
Yeah,
Go on,
oh,
Mark.
I love it.
As far as like
Yeah,
R-rated comic book
Joker
movies
is.
go, like it's like one of the best. Like I'd say top five for sure.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, it's a master. That's one of the few films on this list I can say is absolutely a masterpiece.
You know
It's like
what's weird is I know a
Invincible,
lot
The
of people who
Boys,
really
and then
don't
like
think that
Joker.
Joker is like that good.
Yeah.
I
I
don't
think it
get
is.
the people who don't like Joker. I guess the only people I've really seen that don't like Joker are like hardcore, like comic book fans. Like that sounds really bad because we are hardcore comic book fans, but I'm talking about like the people who will stick by the source material and die by the source material, where it's like they're not open to other interpretations. Those are the
Yeah,
people I see who mainly dislike Joker because it's like, well, it's not like the comics. Just like, who fucking cares?
it's not trying to be. It's just trying to be its own
Which I
thing.
guess, yeah. Well, I mean, then here's how we sound kind of hypocritical because then we make the argument with like BVS about how it's not accurate, but we will praise Joker for not being accurate.
Well, I think it's a different case because, like, with Batman in that movie, like, sure, like it's Zack trying to do something different, but it's what he's doing with that character just doesn't work. But I feel like with Joker, like when you have it where it's just a completely blank state, like you can just do whatever and it'll either work
Look,
or not work.
I think in Batman's case, it's like
Well, I still.
is Bat. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that I feel like that Joaquin Phoenix's Joker acts like Joker. Like even though he is a different like character technically, he is Joker. Whenever you watch like Ben Affleck's Batman, that's not Batman. That's basically the Punisher.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like at least Joaquin Phoenix's character of Arthur Fleck acts like the Joker. Ben Affleck's version of Bruce Wayne does not act like Bruce Wayne.
Mm-hmm.
So in a way, even though the film is doing something completely different, it is still inherently a more accurate film to the comics than BVS.
I don't know. The thing is like I don't mind when movies decide to like do something different with their characters, but as long as they keep the core values of what makes that character, then
Yeah,
it's
that's what
fine.
I'm saying.
Right.
Because Joaquin Phoenix's Joker keeps the core of the Joker.
Yeah.
Like all that is still there.
Yes.
It's just a new story with a new character,
Yeah.
who like a new version of the Joker.
Mm-hmm.
With Ben Affleck's Batman, he doesn't act like Batman at all. Like I said, he is literally a maniac killer.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the main difference between them. That's why I think inherently that way Joker is more accurate than BVS.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Joker is just a masterpiece. Like it's just everything about that film is fantastic, and I'm so hyped for the second.
You know what? I am too. Actually, I was a little worried when the news came out about it being a musical, and then the teaser came out, and I'm like, okay, like I can get down with this, like because it's not trying to be like, Les Miserables type shit. Like it's trying to do the whole, like it's a vaudeville musical, and for a character that's so eccentric like the Joker, I can definitely see that like working. So,
I don't know. I may have said it in. I think I've said it in the podcast before. Like my predictions for how the musical aspects are going to work. Like I've always said that. I feel like all the musical aspects in that film are going to take place in Arthur Fleck's head, the same way a lot of what happened in the first film did.
mm-hmm.
Where he will imagine this sort of like musical life when really everything is fucking ass in his life.
Mm-hmm.
And then he'll also like imagine this whole relationship with this version of Harleen Quinzel or Harley Quinn, played by fucking whoever the hell who the fuck was
Lady
it?
Gaga.
It's Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know, white bitch. They got her playing Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
So that I sound like I don't know why I feel high as hell right now because I explained my theory in the worst way possible. Go check out our other episodes where we talk about Joker too, if you want to know my more clearer thoughts. But I feel like a majority of what's going to happen in that sequel is just going to be in his head, including his relationship with Harley Quinn and all the musical aspects of that will all be in his head.
I feel like most of that,
But that's just me.
like, it'll just work that way, and I feel that's what's going to happen too. Is just most of it's just going to be in his head. I hope that for the whole relationship thing, they don't pull what they pulled in the first movie again, where it was just like he's just imagining her like everywhere that they went. But
I was thinking it more of she would be his like psychiatrist, and he would just imagine them being in love, even though she's really just being a psychiatrist.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, she cares about him, but it's like she's not trying to fuck him. She's just a psychiatrist,
the way I had it in my head
and
was
he's just
like,
insane.
yeah, the way I had it in my head was like they do actually fall in love, and they think like it's this perfect relationship, but then in reality it's just like the most abusive kind of vitriol like thing imaginable.
And then after credit scene, Robert Pattinson's Batman shows up.
He just beats the shit out of him.
Just fucking kills him, breaks his no kill rule, just like accidentally decks him in the face and just shatters his bones. Yo, Robert Pattinson's Batman would absolutely like. I could absolutely see him just fucking killing Joker, like Joaquin Phoenix's Joker. He would just demolish him. He's not standing a chance. But anyways, Joker. That's all we really have to say with that film. Joker's fantastic. What else can we say?
Yeah.
Do we have any other films that we really want to discuss before we get into our final thoughts on
There is one more I want to mention
in general?
There is one more, and I don't know why I didn't mention this earlier, but Kick-Ass.
Oh,
what the
I did not expect
fuck!
to
I
pull
forgot
that one
about
out.
Kick-Ass. Oh my god!
Yeah.
Damn it! I was hoping to end the episode. We're gonna be here another hour now.
Bro, those movies. Okay, first
we got
off,
Hellboy. Oh my god!
Those movies are so good. I love the Kick-Ass movies.
I like
Thanks
the
to my
first movie.
brother.
I don't like the second one.
Well, I think the first one's
You don't
miles
like the
better.
one?
No,
But I enjoyed both. But I love the first one.
both.
I used to really like
Every
the
single
second
time I
movie.
watch the first one, I gotta watch the second one.
Well, all right. Well, let's go Kick-Ass 1 first. Kick-Ass 1 is amazing. It's so fun.
Yeah,
I love that movie.
it's severely underrated, and everybody should watch it.
Yeah, it's like I feel like that's like top tier comic book films. Like it's like the Batman, the Dark Knight, like the Kick-Ass films, and then like it's like Scott Pilgrim and stuff like that. It's like that's all like top tier, like comic book films.
Yeah, Kick-Ass would probably be in my top 10 for sure. Yeah, like
I'd say top 5.
I love that first movie so much. Like, there's just like literally everything about it I call fucking perfect. I know it has its issues, but like, I don't give a shit. Like, I could watch that movie any fucking day and never get bored of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean I don't know why I always put that movie in like the same category as always like the stupid ass Seth Rogen comedies I watch all the time.
Yeah.
But I do that for some reason. I would always put it in the same category as those, but it's such a fucking good film. God, I'm watching Kick-Ass as soon as we get off here.
I might too. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, goddamn. I'm watching both of them. I just have them both on repeat.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because I was thinking about the movies and I'm just like, what the fuck? Why didn't we mention that earlier?
Yeah, you just said it to me, and I was like, what the fuck? Why? I hope they make it like a new like rebooted Kick-Ass film. Especially with all like the new comics and stuff that have been releasing with like new characters and like new people taking on the Kick-Ass persona.
I would love to see another
decent
Kick-Ass
film
movie.
franchise after that.
Yeah, no, I would love to see another Kick-Ass.
They've been in talks to make like a remember if it was like a Hulu series or something like that. But there was like some series they were trying to make with the cast.
Yeah.
It's like been in development hell. But yeah, do we want to mention Hellboy? Even though like that movie sucks.
Let's not.
All right. I mean, the original two are good, but they're PG-13, so they don't count for this video.
Yeah.
They're great. The 2019 film is dog shit.
Yeah, that
That's just it.
movie is just
All right.
fucking atrocious. But anyway,
I mean, there's some cool parts to it. I feel like some of the fight scenes and cinematography and stuff and that are pretty cool. Moving on. Let's talk. Let's finally get into our main final topic, and that is: do you think that comic book films and TV shows and media in general in the future will have a big tonal shift to be more mature and R-rated after people have starting to have this fatigue for the MCU?
Look, I honestly, I don't think as many people are having a fatigue for the MCU as you might think. Like, I mean, you could just go onto Twitter right now and see how many people are, or TikTok, or any place with like toxic fan bases. You could go on and everyone just wants more MCU, more MCU, more MCU, more MCU, and they
Yeah, but that's the thing,
consistently
though, is that you can
hate
go to
on
those
the
same
Batman.
places and find an equal amount of people who just don't like the MCU and how it plays out.
That's true. But I do think that there's more people that would rather watch the MCU, and they're all usually under 18, mind you. I'm not saying
I'm
people
under
that like
18.
the MCU are dumb. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying if you're older than that or younger than that, you can't like it. I'm not saying that because I like the MCU. But it's like, I really don't think that those people, because it's at such a large scale, that comic movies are just going to have a shift. I think that the people that like us who enjoy both are fine. I mean, at least I'm speaking for myself here. I'm fine with a tonal shift, but I really don't think it's going to happen. Not on that scale. I think with things like Matt Reeves' Batman movies, I think that's a place where it's going to happen, but I don't think it's going to be on a huge scale. And Joker too, obviously.
I feel like right now, like, we're in somewhat of a good balance of, dark, mature media, and then also, fun, lighthearted, kind of thing. I think right now is a good thing. Part of me, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there was a tonal shift, and part of me wants that because, I've kind of missed the days of a little bit more serious, media. But I feel like if it does happen, then at some point it's just gonna go back to lighthearted, like in an instant. Like, I mean, comic book movies have been doing that for a long time, where it was just like for the 2000s, it was like mainly dark comic book movies, and then as soon as like Avengers happened, there was just a whole period of time where it was nothing but very lighthearted superhero media. So, I mean, I'm sure it's bound to happen at some point, but yeah. But I think right now we're at a nice balance of dark and fun. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to add. I mean, as much as I prefer the darker toned films
So do
compared to
I.
like a lot of what the MCU's doing now with like Phase 4, I don't feel like it's ever gonna really fully phase out. Just because you guys are gonna fucking try to kill me for this. Superheroes are always inherently looked at as children's media. I mean, less so
I mean,
nowadays, but
to
it's
an extent
still
they
gonna be a
are,
thing.
but there's nothing wrong with that. But
I'll be right back.
like,
Yeah, I
Star
know. I'm
Wars is
just saying
children's
because I
media.
know people would want to split my throat for that.
Oh no, it's absolutely children's media, and there's nothing wrong with
So I
that.
feel like
But
because of that, inherently, there's always going to be the more lighthearted stuff, whether or not that the public perception really changes that or not.
they also have to understand that not all comic books were
The,
written to be accommodating to a very lighthearted child's mind. I mean, you can look at Batman comics. You can even look at Spider-Man comics. I mean, the death of Gwen Stacy is not for children, even though it is. It's
Yeah,
just the themes are really
Kraven's
not for
Last Hunt
kids.
is not a kid's comic.
No, it's like people people misconstrued it, I think, and misunderstand the stories for the most part to me. And
Yeah.
it's like you can have it be for kids while also having more mature themes within your film or a TV show now. Like they're
Yeah.
doing a lot of them. But I think like the Batman, like when I saw the Batman in theaters, I saw a bunch of people with their little kids seeing the Batman. And I also saw like people saying about the Batman, like, "Oh, I would never take my kids. This is too dark." But I saw a lot of people taking their kids, and like dads that have been lifelong Batman fans showing their kids, and the kids love it. It's like children can watch dark things. It's not like it's not that. It's just
Yeah, I feel like big media corporations have come to this kind of assumption that children are inherently stupid, which is
dude.
far from the case. Like I was really young watching the DC animated films that were coming out, and those were definitely not for kids. Like the Dark
Yeah,
Knight Returns films, and like Under the Red Hood, like those are on
yeah,
par with I think the Matt Reeves films in terms of how dark they get. Maybe
yeah.
not.
Under
Maybe
the
they're
Red
not
Hood
looked at
is
as such because
incredible.
they're animated, but they definitely like get that dark.
I mean, when I first watched Mask of the Phantasm, um, I, when I first saw it, I was expecting it to be, because it's the animated series, so I expected a dark tone and a sort of kind of a dive into Batman's psyche, but I didn't expect it to go that dark and like that emotionally traumatic. And that's like one, in my opinion, that's the
I
best
mean,
Batman movie
I'm
ever made.
I mean, I'm
So
not
it's
even
like,
talking about like quality at this point. I'm talking about just me being a 6 year old kid watching like the Dark Knight Returns,
yeah. Well,
part
you know
one
what?
and
It's like
two. Like
I
that's
wasn't even
that's
allowed.
the same as kids nowadays going to theaters and watching like the Batman. Uh, like companies and corporations like Disney and Warner Brothers, all of them, they have this assumption for some reason that children are stupid and don't like that dark media. When really that's all I was watching when I was like 9. Like I
Right.
wasn't watching any of like the MCU stuff. I wasn't watching any of like the kids Batman stuff besides like the animated series. I was watching
I,
I was watching the DC animated films. I was watching fan films online with like they were having bloodiest fucking death battles and stuff.
yeah.
Like that's what I was watching.
Right. Well, like even for me, like I didn't get into
So
the MCU till later, and the first movie I saw in the MCU was The Incredible Hulk, and I didn't know it was a part of a larger universe at the time. I just saw The Incredible Hulk as that one movie, and I didn't even know Iron Man was a thing until I saw Avengers, and I was like 9 years old when Avengers came out. So that's what
I mean,
I
for
was.
me,
I was
for
watching
me, I
Batman.
liked the MCU when I was a kid. Like I much preferred like the dark DC stuff. But I mean, even like the Dark Knight trilogy and stuff. I used to watch that like a ton. But like,
Yeah,
which is also inherently some dark films, especially the Dark Knight. I keep forgetting how dark that film gets. That
I
film gets
know.
fucked up.
I
But
was the
like,
same way. I
like
was
I
never into
liked
the
the MCU when
MCU.
I was that age. Like I liked it. Like mainly like Captain America was really what I liked the most about the MCU
Yeah,
at that time. And it
yeah.
still is. I feel like a lot of Captain America stuff in the MCU is what carried it a lot for me.
Oh, I agree.
Because now
It
that we
wasn't
don't really
for
have
me. It
Captain
wasn't
America
Iron Man.
outside of like because we don't really have a Captain America outside of like Falcon and Winter Soldier and stuff like that. Which I mean, we
Yeah,
really haven't seen him much as Captain America.
No.
no.
So like so that's why I feel like
Well,
I feel
I
like
was
that's why the
similar.
MCU kind of fell off for me personally. Is just
I
because
was
there hasn't been that Captain America figure.
I was similar. Like growing up, well, like you said, you liked the MCU, preferred the darker stuff. I didn't even watch the MCU until Avengers came out, and I didn't even see Avengers in theaters. I
Well, I mean,
saw
I was
Avengers
6 when
in
the
like
Avengers came out. What do you expect me to do?
I saw Avengers on cable, like I don't know 8 months after it came out, and at my grandparents' house, and I was like, oh, that was really cool. And then over the years, I kind of had, I think by the time Age of Ultron came out, or no, not even Age of Ultron, Guardians. When Guardians came out, I was much more invested in the MCU. But before
Yeah,
that, I
that's about the
only
same for me, to be
watched.
honest.
Yeah, like before that though, all I watched was 2004 Batman TV show, Spider-Man the animated series, um, Batman Beyond. I didn't get into BTAS till later, but that was a
Yeah,
part of
see,
it.
for me, when I was a kid, bro, I used to hate Batman Beyond because it wasn't Bruce Wayne. I used to
Oh,
hate
I
it.
love that. I
I
used to
loved
love
BTAS
Batman
though.
Beyond.
I loved BTAS. Superman the animated series was good. I didn't. I When I was a kid, they didn't really air Justice League, and like
Oh,
they aired it early. They
see,
aired it early on Saturdays.
dude,
But I
Justice
loved
League was
whenever I
what
got
I,
to when I was able to catch Justice League. I loved it. But
bro.
like for Batman
Justice League
Beyond, I don't
was
know why.
the
Just my
show.
dumbass kid brain was like, it's not Bruce Wayne, so it's not good.
Well, when I was a kid, I saw Justice League before any of the other DC animated universe stuff, and that was like my introduction to that. And then I saw BTAS, actually, Batman Beyond was my introduction to the DCEU or DC. What an idiot! Whatever, you get what I mean. But that was my introduction to
It's
that,
getting late. We
and
need to end this episode.
All right.
but yeah. So the darker stuff was always what I was attracted to, even as a little kid. I was
Yeah.
always attracted to the darker stuff. I mean, the first Spider-Man episodes I remember watching from the '90s show was the Venom ones, which are pretty dark episodes.
I mean, I didn't really get into this. I mean, I liked Spider Man when I was like a young kid, but like as I
Oh,
grew up to
dude,
be more like a
Spider-Man,
preteen, I always just watched like the dark.
bro,
I used to always watch like the dark Batman stuff. That's really what I resonated
the
towards. Then I got
'90s.
more back into Spider Man whenever I grew to appreciate like the TASM films, which I really got into the TASM films because they were darker than a lot of the
All
other
right, well,
Spider Man interpretations.
this is gonna be my closing statement. The five things I grew up on were uh, not the X-Men '97, Spider-Man '90s.
Not to be confused with X Men '97.
Yeah, not the Spider-Man the '90s show, Batman Beyond, the Batman from 2004, and
Not to be confused with the Batman from
and
2022.
X-Men and Wolverine and the X-Men. That was like my childhood. Those five shows. That was what I watched.
Not to be confused with X Men
More
Origins
than
Wolverine from
and
2009.
of course, Spectacular Spider-Man was a huge part of my childhood. I remember watching it when it was coming out, but yeah. So it wasn't like I was not really into the movies yet, unless it was like the Batman stuff or the Raimi trilogy, or even when the Amazing Spider-Man came out. I loved it. You know.
Yeah. To close out the episode, really, what I want to get my point across is that I think we can all kind of agree that we don't feel like the majority of like comic book media is going to be taking a big tonal change because comic books are inherently for kids, and there's still a mainstream appeal for the MCU, even with a lot of people saying that it should have ended after Endgame, which I kind of agree with.
I agree with that.
So yeah, same to be honest, but it is what it is. So in conclusion, we don't think that comic book films will have that tonal change. However, I feel like we will be seeing more interesting interpretations as we go along, and really, no one knows what's going to happen in the future of comic book films. If you really want to think about it, that's all we have for today's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Our links are down below. Go follow us, go subscribe to us, all that good stuff. Subscribe, turn on notifications for new episodes. Like the video, and remember, get bitches.